For your Caesar.
It's a 10 Toes production.
For your Caesar.
Rascal Beats.
For your Caesar. Cardiff City ride with me for your Caesar. For your Caesar. Cardiff City get litty for your Caesar. She want a diff boy. Swagger 1 point, yeah, diff boy. She want a diff boy. Swagger 1 point, yeah, diff boy. For your Caesar. Grab a little something for your Caesar. We the geezers. Swagger stone cold like freezers. She want a diff boy. She want Starvz, not fit.
Yes, guys, I'm sorry. Welcome to Cardiff City World. Welcome to a midweek edition of the Breakdown podcast. I am having a nightmare with these phones. I've just realised I haven't even tagged myself properly in the Twitter stream. So there we go. But yeah, if you can share it, share the YouTube stream, share the link and all that sort of stuff. Because I'm not on some of the socials at the moment because my phone's broke. If anyone could fix phone screens as well, get in touch. Preferably as cheap as possible because he spent all my money yesterday. But there we go. That's another story for another day. Matthew, how are you, boy?
I'm probably not as tired as you are, mate, after your trip back from Wimbledon last night. But, yes, very positive, mate. I think, again, I think it's still work in progress. But it's nice to see Cardiff playing now with, again, I think we had near 70% possession last night. It was a 66 or 68% possession. And I know that end product, and we'll come on to that, no doubt. But it's just nice to see us playing football.
Yeah, so normally before the breakdown, I will rewatch the game, but because I knew you were coming on with me, I decided to not rewatch it. So we've got, like, you obviously watch it on TV, I watched it in the ground, and we can kind of give both sides of it. Like,
2 fingers for bragging.
No, I just mean, like, you know, it's just it's one of them, isn't it? Just like different, you see different things in the ground to what you see on TV, and you notice other stuff. I will say, traveling by coach with a supporters club was superb. Like, it was rolled back the years for me. Like, I really enjoyed it, and they looked after us and stuff, and it was great, comfortable, as comfortable as it can be for two people who can't get comfy. Like, but it was good. Like, I gotta say, I had a really good day.
Yeah, way end on the obviously watching it on the TV. I was loud from the first minute till the end. Obviously, absolute limbs when that 92nd minute went in, but fair play to every single person who travelled up. It looked a really good atmosphere in our way end, in fairness.
It was, and it's funny, right? The atmosphere was incredible. Like, and obviously when a goal goes in, it's just everywhere, like hugging strangers and all the rest of it. But the funny thing is there was a bit of frustration at times in the second half with people, like, they wanted us to shoot, but I kept thinking, like, it looks like we're on the edge of the box from the other end, but I'm just thinking, I think we're all getting frustrated here because they're not shooting, and they might be like on the edge of the centre circle because you obviously can't see. But no, I think, look, right, the first half, I don't think many teams will be as dominant as that this season. I thought we were so dominant just without the goal, like, and we played some good stuff. I think what we lack is, like, Issak Daves is still a bit rusty, and I think what we lack is someone like him who's got that explosive pace to get in behind from the start. Like, there was a few times where it looked like Keane might get in behind the fullback, or even Tanner sometimes. There was a few times Tanner was in and they went the other way, and I think he got a bit frustrated. But the football was good, the movement was good, the battling was, like, everything was good. We just didn't give Wimbledon a second, like, on the ball to breathe. And I thought Wimbledon were way more poor than I thought I expected. Like, I did a bit of research for the preview and stuff, and I watched them a bit, and they seemed to try and play football into Johnny Jackson, but I thought they were very, like, do you know what they did? They reminded me of Arsenal on Sunday, where they were just, like, trying to waste time, just be physical, and it was clear they were trying to keep it 0-0 to that last 20 minutes and then have a real good go.
Yeah.
And
watching it on the TV, and I think I mentioned it last night, first half especially, you would have thought we were the home team, really. We were so dominant with our ball at our feet and things. Like I said, 70-odd% possession first half. There's not many teams going to go away from home and have that amount of possession. I think the frustrating thing for me, really, was that we couldn't capitalize on the amount of ball that we had. But then is understanding the way that BBM wants to play, his patience. But yeah, for me, it was a bit frustrating. I don't know what it was. I think you just alluded to it. People were getting a bit frustrated, but we just got to be patient and fair play to them. It's nice to see now a Cardiff City team, and not just one or two players, but every single player on our field last night bust their gut from the first minute until the 95th or 96th minute whenever he blew up. And it's great to see that. And I think we've alluded to it on pods before, whereby, we might not have the greatest players with the more stability, but if we've got players out there who's fighting tooth and nail when they're wearing that badge, then Cardiff fans will take to that. And, if we'd come away from there last night with a 0-0 draw, I think we would have been disappointed. But the performances are coming, and we're getting better and better as the weeks go by for me.
Yeah, I think we'll click probably when we get a bit of pace, like to get in behind teams. I think that's what the one thing we lack is getting in behind. Like everything else is very good, but I do think when we click, we might end up giving someone an absolute pasting. Because what I will say, right, I'm going to kind of contradict myself a little bit, but bear with me, is in every game we've played, maybe with the exclusion of Port Vale, but even in that game during periods, we have been by far the better team. But in football, there's momentum in games and it changes, and teams will have their sort of period where they try and get into it. And like I said, Wimbledon tried to sit in and then get us late in the game. But what I would say is against Peterborough, where we conceded that penalty after being on top, against Swindon, when they get a goal back out of nothing from a mistake, the physicality of Port Vale, they would have beaten us previously, and Rotherham probably we were just battered them but even yesterday, these are all the sort of moments where last year, or particularly last season, but at other times, the players have folded under the pressure, and Port Vale would have won against us previously. And like for those young players, average age of 22, by the way, still is insane. Those players, particularly later this season, when the pressure's really on and there's something to play for, or like more to play for, this experience of going away and being beaten up will do them wonders, absolute wonders, because they'll be able to cope with the pressure. And I think away from home, there's been pressure on them anyway, because our away form was so bad last year. There was pressure for that to not continue. So the Port Vale game is probably our worst game. So yesterday, there was a lot of pressure on those players to make sure that they put in a good performance. But then tactically, there was also a thing of like, can Brian Barry Murphy, does he need to change the way he plays a little bit systemically to away from home, or can he dominate and do it away from home? And it was all quite fascinating. Like I thought, I thought he made clever changes to the lineup. Obviously, you knew Bagan was going to come in, but I thought Joel Colwell coming in was probably the right call. You wanted his legs and his ability to carry the ball. And then you also giving Turnbull a rest. I would have liked to have seen us give Wintle a little bit, even though Wintle was great. Much like Bagan, if he plays every single minute of every single game, he will get an injury or he'll buckle just pure physically. And same with Ruben. Like we haven't really got a replacement for Ruben, I don't think. And
no, we talked about that on the show last night. That if Ruben was to get injured, I think I asked Evan the question, who's going to kind of slot into that position, and that's something that worries me. Only because, in fairness to Ruben, he's at the season flyer. I mean, to be fair, he's
levels above.
Unbelievable, mate, for me. And I know we come, again, Cardiff fans can love and hate and things, and they're not afraid to share their opinions. But I think he's that extra responsibility now with him being given vice captaincy, and obviously Chambers on the bench last night, so he started as captain again. I think he's showing his mettle at the moment.
Well, I mean, quite frankly, anyone who's criticising Ruben this season is just embarrassing, like, because that's just a clear agenda, because he's been by far our best player. And like, I'm concerned what happens if he gets injured or something, or he can't play.
It's not only that for me. With 11 days left in the transfer window, I'm concerned that someone's going to come sniffing.
Fucking right, mate. 100%. Because they will test, because Cardiff are notorious for selling, aren't they? Now, I was told again this morning by someone high up in the club, Salic and Colwell are just not for sale. Just not for, under any circumstances, they're not for sale. But while our window's open, mate, I don't believe it. And I will say, right, I will get into the comments and stuff now. And I know people are saying about the transfers and stuff like that. I had a little chat with a couple of people today, and they said, like, they do want to back him, but he's being very particular about the quality that he wants. Like, he's not willing to just bring in anyone. He wants people who are going to play in the first 16. Like, he's not interested in someone who might be good or might be able to. He wants someone who's going to improve what he's got, which I respect. But also, I saw a few posts on Twitter saying, we've freed up all this money from all the players' wages who've left. But actually, we were financially a mess anyway. Tan's putting in like $500,000 to $1 million, depending on where you get your information from, every month to keep us going. Then we lost like millions in TV revenue from the championship. So, the wages of Rawls and Ramsey and Mate and all the people who left, that did free up a load of money, but really it's probably only made up for the shortfall that we've lost from getting relegated, which is frustrating, but it's just a fact of the finances of the football club. However, I don't think we need to sell to buy. I just think, I don't know for sure. Obviously, of course I don't, but as far as I'm aware, they've said, well, everyone I've spoken to from top down to a bit lower, like, they've all said that they want to back him. They're going to back him. He has the final say on who leaves and who stays. And that's why it's taken what it's taken, because when they put players to him, he said, no, thank you. So it's a difficult one, isn't it? Because do you just bring in someone, or do you got to wait for the players that he wants? Like, if you look at Trott, I saw a lot of people giving Brian Barry Murphy a little pat on the back for, like, oh, if Trott's the quality that he wants, then, or if Trott's the quality that he's going to bring in, then let him do it. My understanding is that Trott came from Du Bois. I don't know that for sure, but someone who I spoke to who knows a bit said that Du Bois was, and BBM sort of collaboratively were the ones responsible for Nathan Trott. And by the way, I was a bit worried about his distribution in the first game, but he was thrown in like on a couple of days' notice when the first game he played. Since then, I think, Jesus Christ, he's been outstanding. Everything he's done. And it's hard for a keeper when you're not doing nothing all game apart from just passing the ball, and then suddenly in the last 10 minutes, you've got to make a save out of the blue, like against Swindon, wasn't it? I think it was, where they broke and they cut across and they shoot, and he should score, really. And that save last night was sensational.
Yeah, low down to his right-hand side and fingertips to it. I think everybody was holding their breath. And a bit of credit, I think Wimbledon were poor first half, and that's credit to Cardiff when I say that. We just didn't allow them to play football. Like I said, having 70% possession, they were chasing shadows for the majority of the first half. But I think second half, as a Cardiff fan watching the game, I was nervous because they seemed to up the tempo a little bit second half. They was closing us down. They had a few chances. And yeah, it could have gone either way for me second half. I would have been happy going into the 90th minute to come away with a point, to be honest. And obviously, it was a bonus when Issak Daves was able to stick his knee on David Turnbull's effort from the cross from Chris Willock.
Yeah, we deserve to win overall, I think, anyway. But of course, it gets a bit squeaky, doesn't it, when you don't get a goal.
The Wimbledon manager was obviously disappointed they didn't get anything from the game. But I think he said that, in his post-match press conference, or, the interview he done after, he said, for a large majority of the game, we're chasing the game, and it just makes it so hard when they haven't got the ball, because you're working and you're forever chasing and trying to get the ball back, really. But
sorry to interrupt you, mate. Just on what you said there about the opposition manager. If you go back and listen to all the opposition managers that have spoken so far this season, they're all effectively saying, fucking, we couldn't get near Cardiff at all. That's really encouraging, because I don't think this team is anywhere near where Barry Murphy wants it to be. It's still a work in progress. He's still getting them to understand their roles. So, for instance, I think there's certain players like Joe Bagan. He gets it. He understands what Barry Murphy wants from him tactically exactly.
Yeah.
And then I think there's others like maybe David Turnbull and others who get it, but are kind of still you could see him on the touchline coaching them through it a bit, when to go, when to hold and stuff like that, which is normal because he's very detail orientated about what he wants from each player. And I think those young players will only get better. And I think David Turnbull's been outstanding for the last 2.5, 3 games, or since Barry Murphy pushed him at the start of the Swindon game. Since then, I think he's been really good. I think Yusuf Salic probably should have scored that header in the first half yesterday. I thought there was I am worried about Callum Robinson, but we'll get on to that in a bit. I want to talk about the standard of refereeing, mate, in League One. It has been rough. I didn't think it was great in the Championship, but the drop in officiating has been quite eye-opening, I got to say. And a couple of people a couple of people messaged me and said it almost feels like they got an agenda against Cardiff, because that last night was unreal. Some of the decisions, the 3 which poke out is the Joel Colwell penalty. Blatant, 100%. It's a leg breaker, mate. That is. Didn't get anywhere near the ball. The handball on the line. The pull on Joel Colwell when he's got an open goal is pretty blatant, but all right, you get them sometimes. And then obviously the one where the keeper's up for the corner, it breaks, and it is a nasty challenge on Issak Daves. But Robinson is through. He's got 2 runners with him, and they've only got 1 defender, and they've got a whole goal to go.
There was no advantage there, was it? The referee blew the whistle straight away. And I'm thinking that, let it go for 2 or 3 seconds. If nothing comes,
it was clear. Robinson had the ball. There was no need for him to blow up. And it was that's the frustrating thing for me.
You mentioned earlier about momentum and things, and if things are not, you only need one of them games, right? And it is nip and tuck. But that could have been the difference last night to, coming away with a point in the end, coming away with nothing. Do you know what I mean? And you go back to the Rotherham game, and I know we won that quite convincingly in the end, 3-0. But there was 2 clear shouts for a penalty in that game. And we're just not getting a look in at the moment. I don't know whether we've come with a bit of a reputation, which I don't understand where that would have come from. But I don't know. It is worrying. Like you said, with that momentum, you go into a game like Luton now, and if you have a couple of decisions like that go against you again, that could be a defeat on the road then. And how does that affect the squad then going into the next game at home against Plymouth? You don't know, do you?
If we could get 4 points from the next 2 games against Luton and Plymouth, mate, I think we can start to really believe that this young group can do something this season.
I love the Issak Daves interview after the game last night. I don't know if you've seen it. I think
he's just one of us.
Yeah, the person who interviewed him asked him about Cardiff City fans getting excited, and he was like, they've got every right to be excited. We are just still taking it game by game, and I just thought the way he put it across was awesome. Obviously, we're 4 games unbeaten. something we haven't seen for a long time. We're playing better football. Granted, we're in League One. We've got every right to be excited, but I think we've still obviously got to realise that there's still a long way to go.
But you know the other thing, right, mate, is it's not just about being second and being unbeaten and a 100% home record and all this. We're doing it with 7 or 8 academy players in the first team squad. And when you count the ones who are just missing out on the squad, it's more than that. Like we're doing it with our young players. And I think that's what makes it special. And look, it might be that they fade away and we end up 5th, 6th, 7th. But like if we maintain it and we are where we are towards, March, January, whatever, then of course it's going to be unreal. And I think if Cardiff can get promoted this year somehow with these players, it is so exciting because whatever league we play in next year, in my opinion, these players will be ready for it. Like they're all good enough to make the step up. Now, of course, you'll need to bring in more players of a higher quality, maybe to support them. But like Kip Pacquiao, Joel Colwell, Ruben Colwell, Isaac, whoever, like they're all capable of playing in the championship next year or whenever. So like whatever league we're in next year, you expect us to do quite well. So it's just my thing is for me, like I've been a big proponent of Brian Barry Murphy. I it's not a secret. I had said months before he came in that we needed to get him in the football club in some way. Even I've been impressed by what he's done in a short space of time, because there's players who are playing very, very well who I was like, sell. I would sell them. And I'm impressed by it, not because they're still there, because that's always up to the manager, but I'm impressed that he's got them playing better than I ever thought they were capable of. That to me shows what a good manager and a good coach can get out of individuals.
Yeah, 100% agree with him, buddy.
One player I'm concerned with, right? Not concerned by his attitude, because I think his attitude in these last 2 games has been really good. He's worked hard and he's tried his best. Callum Robinson looks way off it. Like, way off it. We all know what at his best, what he's capable of. And we all know he's just, streaky, like he'll score 5 and 5 and then he'll go a bit quiet but he's just his touch, everything. And then he gets his chance last night with that header. And you're just thinking, anyway, like it's one of them, and it like just put it in a corner and it's a goal and over. And I worry for him. He looks like he's getting in his own head.
I was worried on Saturday, if I'm honest, because Callum Robinson, every game last season, win, lose or draw, and we didn't obviously win or draw many last season. He was the first one that would go around all of the ground, thanking the fans. And Saturday, I think he came on for, I think it was less than 10 minutes. He kind of walked across the halfway line.
He did clap, didn't he? He did make a thing of clapping.
Straight down the tunnel end, and I thought, that's not looking great, if I'm honest. I was glad he had 20 minutes last night, but I just don't know if he's suited in the BBM formation that we're currently playing. Taking him Salek off and replacing him with Robinson. I wouldn't say they like for like strikers, if I'm completely honest. I think you take Salek off, our aerial threat is gone straight away. I know he had that chance last night, Robinson, but I just don't see him as strong in the air as Salek. I would love to, obviously the formation is difficult, but I would love to see him play with Salek. Whether that's just in behind, I'm not too sure, but I just think at the moment when he's just coming on for 10 and 15 minutes here and there, I think he's struggling to get into the game and get a foothold of the game. And a couple of times he came on yesterday and he had touches and just didn't quite sit for him, did it?
No, indeed. And and look, like I got to say, Wimbledon, just on a side note, Wimbledon, as a stadium and a ground, like their stewards, the way they were on, unbelievable, mate. We were stood outside when we got there, got off the bus, we were having a cigarette and that, just chatting. And me and Becky were like, right, well, we need to check if we can, once we go in, can we go out to smoke and stuff? Because you can't normally until half time. So he was like, right, well, we'll stay up here for a bit, drink my Monster and whatever. And the steward came over to us. Oh, that was it. Someone came up to me and said hello and asked me to have a picture. And by the way, anyone who had a picture of me yesterday, please do send them. I don't know. I took loads, and so many people came to say hello. It was wicked, but I got a memory like a sieve, so I just forget who I met. But it was great. It was so wicked to see everyone. But the steward come out to us and said, as I was talking to this guy, he said, "Look, you don't have to go through the gate. Just come through the big door by there, and we'll let you in." And then when we got in, it was all outside, and they just said just smoke by there, just don't make a big thing of it, and just smoke by there. And they don't have to do that. You get so many jobs with around the country who do stewarding, and they just said just smoke in the corner. It's outside. Don't worry about it. And they would get involved in the chanting and all that sort of stuff, and they couldn't do enough for you. And I just fair play. It was a all around pleasant experience, just generally how they dealt with you and stuff. So fair play to them, and shout out to Corky and all the people Cardiff staff who liaise with them all and stuff. But yeah, what a sensational day, mate! I got to say, it's always different in it when it's a last minute winner as well. Yeah, I met Lewis yesterday. It was funny. There was a guy in front of me, and there was a couple of guys in front of me, obviously, and just before the goal, he was tweeting a certain Cardiff City fan account, and I was stood behind him, and I could just see his vote. He was tweeting a certain Cardiff City account at CCFCWorld, and and then we scored, and I was on his back, and then as we kind of was chatting and stuff afterwards, and then as I left, he kind of double looked at me, sort of looked me up and down, and I don't know whether he realized afterwards that he kind of he was tweeting us. Anyway, it was funny. You have to tweet it, I suppose. But no, it was cool. I met so many people. Some people introduced themselves. Owain, I think it was who was a member, come and said hello. Lewis was who I just mentioned. Who else was there? There was so many, mate. Honestly, it was Did weird.
They sing happy birthday to Becky on the bus?
No, she's too good at hiding, mate, isn't she? Because as soon as people come and speak to me, to say hello, she sort of just fades into the background. She don't want to speak, and she certainly don't want to have a photo, does she? So she's just she's very good at it now. But no, she had a good day, I think. It was a long day, and we didn't get back till late. And then because so I couldn't keep my eyes open on the way home. I just was oh, my neck was fucked. And she woke me up as we got to Newport, and she was like, "You're gonna have to drink this can of Monster because otherwise you ain't gonna be able to drive us home from Ponty." Because I just couldn't keep my eyes open, and I was like, "Yeah, it's fine. I could drink Monster and then still go to sleep." But famous last words that was, because we got in, I think about 2 or half 2 or something, went to bed, and then honestly, mate, to say I was wide awake was an understatement. And I think the last time I looked at my clock, it was 4:30, and then my alarm went off at 5, and I was like, got up, did some bits, and then my phone's. The thing is, I can't do a lot of stuff because my phone's broke. So yeah, if anyone fixes phone screens, get in. A bit disappointed. The one thing about the Wimbledon stewards, they did take the flare away instantly, but I suppose they've got to. But yeah, that's disappointing. Right, let's talk about some of the performances from last night. Because obviously you see the game differently, don't you, when you're in the stand and when you're on TV. I thought Joel Bagan was just ridiculous all game.
Yeah, and it's interesting you brought him up first, because there was a couple of people in our WhatsApp group mentioning Bagan, and they felt that he didn't really offer much going forward, but I think he was outstanding, absolutely outstanding for me. He's a type of player who's going to be a regular, guaranteed 7.5 out of 10 every single week. I think he came on Saturday against Rotherham when Mafiko unfortunately had to go off because of the yellow card, and he looked a bit vulnerable. And I think, he obviously showed that defence up Saturday. And yesterday, I think there was a Wimbledon player who went through, didn't he? And he had a last-ditch tackle. He's the type of player who does everything well. He might not be the flashiest left-back in the world, but he does everything that is expected of him, for me.
But do you know the other thing? I think sometimes people miss, mate, as well, is tactically in the way the manager wants to play. I don't think he wants 2K Pacquiao's, because if you've got 2K Pacquiao's and they're both bombing forward, you are left so exposed. And we saw that last year when Risa tried to play a single pivot, and we just got fucking taken apart like in seconds, because the fullbacks were like on the halfway line, and you had whoever it was, Siopis or whoever, Chambers in the six, and they were just exposed with one pass. He wants him to tuck in a bit, and he wants him to get involved in the build-up, and then they switch it over to the right to have, Tanner or Ashford, and then they'll have Joel Colwell or K Pacquiao underlapping and overlapping to give the line-breaking runs and the width. I don't think he wants that from Bagan, because on that side, you've got Ruben, who tends to play almost up front at times, in between the winger and the centre forward. And if you've got Bagan in there as well, trying to overlap, it becomes congested. But Bagan also does overlap at certain times. He just doesn't do it as frequently as Pacquiao does. Now, don't get me wrong. I would like to see us have the option to have another left back. We need another left back to put pressure on him anyway. I think he's been brilliant since the Swindon game, but he always offers like a 6.5, 7 out of 10 anyway. I just think he's upped his performance. But I think if you bring someone else in, maybe of the profile of a Pacquiao, where he's a bit more aggressive and attacking and whatever, it gives you two different options for different games, different opponents. So, you might play Huddersfield or Stockport and you want Bagan, but then you might play someone further down the league and you might, all right, we'll put in a more attacking lad. So that's one side of it. You've got to have horses for courses, mate, isn't it, at the end of the day?
And Ronan Capaccio went out there, didn't he, for the last 10 minutes?
That was interesting.
Chambers come on at right back, and as much as he's slated over the last few weeks, I thought he looked decent when he came on for the last 10 minutes yesterday. Better
at right back, mate.
Yes, which is really surprised me, because obviously apparently he told me.
Omar said, didn't he, that Chambers didn't want to play right back. Oh.
Yeah. Good hands. But I thought Ronan Capaccio, when he moved out to that left-hand side, didn't look out of place at all there. First half, I was slightly concerned he didn't look as confident, perhaps. It might have been different in the ground, but watching it on the TV, for me, he didn't look as confident.
Capaccio?
Right-hand side. Yeah.
Oh, do you know what I thought he did really, and what he does really well is if someone does get because obviously he does lose headers because he's tiny, but what he does is the moment he loses the header, he's down, and his recovery pace gets him out of trouble like a lot. He got beaten a little bit in the second half, and he'd be back in because he's so quick. You got to have that.
I think we talked about this before we come on live. I think the mentality switch of working hard to get the ball back once we've lost it has gone right throughout the squad for me.
It rubs off, doesn't it?
You look at that issue last night where Tanner got injured. He didn't have to chase our ball down to stop you going out for a goal kick, but he did, and unfortunately he got injured. Last year when he was playing on that right-hand side, we struggled. Perhaps he didn't work back as hard. But I just think that mentality switch now, since BBM has come in, the mentality of all the players to work just as hard off the ball, as hard as we're working when we got the ball, is evident for all to see for me.
Yeah, and what I like as well, mate, is I think Brian Barry Murphy is learning as he's going as well. So against Rotherham, was it Rotherham or Swindon? One of them. Rotherham, I think it was. Towards the end of the game, he brought Chambers on and he moved Dylan Lawler out to right back, which I thought was a mistake at the time. But he did it. And obviously we all know that Chambers is, well, we know via Omar Risa that Callum Chambers doesn't want to play right back or didn't want to play right back. However, in my opinion, and probably the majority of fans' opinions, at the moment, Fish and Lawler are the best centre-back pairing, and we'll get to them too in a minute. So when he came on, I was like, don't put Fish out there, don't put Lawler out there, and he didn't. He put Chambers out there, and I agree with you. Chambers did a much better job. And maybe if Joe Bagan does need a rest, you can at least put Kapaki out at left back and Chambers at right back, and it gives you a bit of versatility or whatever. But on the centre back pairing, one of the things that really frustrated me last year was we never ever got like the same pairing going like for a few games, so they couldn't build a relationship. We've got a new keeper. I said in the summer that I felt Fish, or in the first few games and in the preseason, Fish looks way more settled when he's with Lawler. For whatever reason, he feels like he likes playing with him, and he just looks relaxed. And I thought Fish was excellent on Saturday. I thought he was excellent again last night, particularly in the second half, like the headers and the blocks and stuff. But BBM deserves a bit of credit for that, not just for keeping them together for these two games, dropping the captain, of course, but he also made a small tactical tweak after one of the games. I think it was the Peterborough game. The Peterborough, Fish played on the left and Lawler played on the right. Since then, when those two have played together, Lawler's played on the left and Fish has played on the right, and both of them have looked way better. And it's those little things, like he's learning about the players, he's learning about different things. And I think it takes a big manager to drop your captain, whether he elected him as captain or not. He still dropped his captain, and I think that takes balls for a new young manager as well. And the other side of it, maybe that is why he likes the players to pick the captain, so he's not in a position where I got to drop whoever. He can just go, well, no, I'll pick on how I pick, sort of thing. What did you think of Willock last night, mate?
I thought he looked all right. Put a couple of crosses in. I think is an area of the game that we do need to improve on is our quality of the balls into the box in the final third. Obviously, I think Salek went off. Was it near the 70th minute? I just think when we lose Salek, I think you know, like as I mentioned earlier, we lose that aerial threat. Yeah. But obviously, Callum Robinson has got all the ability in the world. He's been there. He's done it for us. But I know Willock has come with his you know, what's the word I'm looking for? He's come with his I can't get it off the tip of my tongue, but he got his lovers and he's got his haters, hasn't he? But I thought he had a decent performance when he came on yesterday, in fairness.
So I think his final ball is a problem, but the one ball he got right, we scored from. So, but his work rate, mate, is what is I think I brought it up on a show when I watched was it a Peterborough game? He came on late on, and he was on Brian Barry Murphy's side, and I was watching him, and Brian Barry Murphy was telling him, "You got to help Bagan, you got to support him, you got to double up on that winger because they're getting a bit of joy." And he worked his bollocks off, mate. And literally, it went out for a throw-in, and Willock was on like the halfway line, and BBM like dapped him up during the game because he was happy that he was doing what he had been brought on to do. So for me, Willock on the ball, by the way, I thought Willock looked really, really good last night. But it's just his final ball. If he can be, ironically as well, the one time he didn't cut inside and went on the outside, and actually you opened his legs up a little bit and did a bit of skill and put the ball in, we scored. Like, he's, from a pure ability point of view, he's too good for League One. But he's got to believe it, and he's got to do it, and he's got to work at it. But I do think there's a player there. Whether he gets the opportunity if we sign players is another thing, isn't it? I will get on to transfers and stuff in a minute. I wanted to bring this comment up from Rich Dons. He says, Wimbledon fan here, you very much reminded me of Ipswich under McKenna. You're going back-to-back promotions. Go on, the boys. Thank you, mate. Appreciate the comment. the squad we've got, right? And I don't want to get ahead of myself because I'm not 100% convinced we go up yet this year, because I think these players will hit a wall. The young lads, they will hit a wall. It is a long, like if it was a 25 game season, I'd be like, we're winning a lot. We're going to go unbeaten in that 25. But it's not. It's a 47 or whatever it is game season. Like we are going to be, it's brutal. It's a slog. We need players. We've got a small squad, both physically and in numbers. They've got to support the manager now. And I think if I'm Brian Barry Murphy, I'm walking into the office today going, I've done my bit. Now give me the players that I want. Now, I was told yesterday we still want a left back, a centre back, a winger, and maybe a striker as well. I think the striker, is only if we was to sell a striker. That's just me hypothesizing, not anything else. So a load of people asked earlier on about Biancheri. I don't have a great deal of insight into it, other than I know he was on a list with Lewis Kumas, Charlie Crew, and who was the other one? Darko Giabi. At this, like early on in the summer, I haven't heard anything since, but I haven't really checked over the last few days either. It's just people I spoke to, like as I was out and about. I know we've been linked to a couple of players, but just gonna have to wait and see. This 12 days,
mate. Before we come on live, BBM doesn't give anything away in his interviews. Does he's very, very shrewd, I think is the word I'd use.
And the thing is, right, if you're a manager, what's the point in bringing in a lone player who might be better than, I don't know, I'm going to pick a player, right? He might be better than Kean Ashford, but he might not. And if he's not, what benefit does it bring? Because we've already got Willock, Tanner, Davis, and Ashford. If he isn't better than any of them on his best day, what's the point? Like, we've got 4 wingers, all right? Ollie Tanner, which I'll talk about in a sec. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I admire him for sticking to his guns and going, do you know what? No, I want quality players, because I assume he's thinking what me and many others are thinking. If you add 3 or 4 quality players to this team now, we are very difficult to beat. And I think our biggest test is coming up so far, which is Luton and Plymouth. Plymouth, not so much, but they might get it together. They're all over the place at the moment.
They'll get it together, ready for us, I expect. But guaranteed.
That's what usually happens, mate. But times have changed now.
Yes, they have.
But Luton will be hard. But we've shown steel, mate. Port Vale, it wasn't great, but we showed balls and
I think obviously that performance last night, we learned from what happened at Port Vale. And like you said, every game we're seeing improvements in we. So I think it's positive, and we've got every right to be excited, but just realize it, it's a long way to go as well.
Yeah, 100%. And we're like, we are, I think, going to be one of those, like, if teams will not want to concede against us, because I think if you lose a goal against this Cardiff team, we are one of the most awful teams to play against, because we're happy to keep the ball and we can keep it quite well. And then if you do try and press because you're losing, we'll take you apart, because we've got what we struggle with, or not struggle with, but where we have a bit of an issue is if teams sit in, we haven't quite got that cutting edge yet. We need players to get in behind and get a ball into Salic more. Whereas if teams press us, we'll take them apart. Like Peterborough tried to press us, and we should have beaten them comfortably, albeit we beat them 2-1. Rotherham half tried to press us, so we took them apart. Swindon tried to press us a little bit in portions in the first half, and we should have been 3 or 4 up. Like, if teams come and press us, like Luton, it's going to be a really hard game. But I don't think Luton are going to sit in at home against us, because their fans expect them to go up. probably got more pressure on them than us, because we've always got in our back pocket, well, we got an average age of 22. Luton are expected to go up. There's pressure on them. They ain't going to sit in against us.
No,
and that might play into our advantage. I think we'll do better against teams who don't sit in. But when you look at Luton, mate, you know, they're not flying, are they? But they're doing all right.
No, far from it. It would have been interesting. I think Stevenage scored 2 late goals last night, didn't they? 88th and 91st minute, I think, against Port Vale. So
has Paul Mullen scored for Wigan yet? Do you know?
I think he scored in the League Cup. I don't know if he scored a league goal. I'm not. Don't quote me on it. But I'm pretty sure he scored in the League Cup last week. I'm sure. Just when you're looking at that, then I did want to mention. Obviously, we've talked a lot about the youngsters and things, and how well they've done coming into the squad. I do like to keep an eye on the under-21s and things as well. And I think they had a good win. What day are we today? Wednesday. Was it Monday? I think they played. They won 3-0. And that's credit to everybody behind the scenes who's working with the 21s. You think how many players we've taken out of that academy or out of their squad this week. For them to be going away from home and still winning 3-0, just for me as a Cardiff fan, you think that conveyor belt is still working, it's still ticking along. There's players there who, you know, potentially some have said, oh, they should have been playing in the League Cup game last week. Give them minutes. I just think we're in such a good place at the moment that there's players there doing a job. And, you know, if we do need to call them in, then great.
Well, but Darren Pearce doesn't deserve his job, mate. Come on.
No, they should have sacked him, man.
You know, what's he ever done for the club? Idiots.
I just wanted to put that out there.
Yeah, of course you did. You're just a wind-up, mate.
You
knew it was going to set me off. That's why you fucking did it. Go on.
With I know obviously we got Luton on the weekend, and obviously that's the massive game. Do you think you'll go full tilt again for Cheltenham in the League Cup Tuesday, or do you think we'll see a lot of changes?
I don't think we'll see a lot. I think that's the game where he might rest Bagan, and I think you'll see Mafiko come back in there. I think you might see... I'd
like perhaps Joel Colwell to start instead of Ruben and see if he can do a job there.
Yeah, I think he'll be different, but I think he can do similar sort of role. What I actually think he'll do is I think he might... Do you know what? This is a hot take for you. I think he might play Mafiko in the number 6 role against Cheltenham, but give him someone like Eli King and Joel Colwell next to him, so he's got like a bit of protection without protection, if that makes sense. Someone just asked about the intro song. I can't find it. But there's a link to it in the description on the YouTube video. It's by Starvz, who is a Cardiff rapper. And there's links to his Instagram, but there's also a link to the song on YouTube. It's called Diff Boy. The remix is absolute quality. It's got loads of different Welsh rappers on it. But yeah, shout out to Starvz for letting us use the music.
When we're talking about promoting things, then what are you doing on September the 19th, say?
Yeah, straight away, won the header. Cardiff playing on with Lowe, only Earnshaw in the middle. Kavanagh! 3-0, that's it now. Kavanagh, onto that right foot, not a bad try! It's a tremendous goal! What a hit from Kavanagh! He's done hot.
Cardiff desperately looking for the second goal. It's Kavanagh! Well, he doesn't score simple tap-ins, this man, does he?
It is Kavanagh with the free kick. Oh, what an equaliser from Graham Kavanagh! Superb free kick. Everybody expecting the cross, but that was absolutely brilliant. Nigel Martin beaten at his near post, and Cardiff City, after going a goal behind, are back on level terms, and there's bedlam here at Ninian Park. Wow.
We want it fucking low. We do it on the day. We want the FA Cup. I said it, don't believe us. The Blues are staying up.
Love it. It's
Change
19th
that
of
one, staying
September.
up now. They're going
I
up.
know. So 19th of September, the legend that is Graham Kavanagh. What are you doing, Cap? He's coming back to Cardiff. He's joining me and Ace Podcast Nation crew for a good old evening. Another one, they say, and we keep doing it, and we absolutely love it. People forget, mind, how many unbelievable goals he scored, by the way. Left foot, right foot. Talking of limbs as well, by the way. That Leeds game. Whew. That was limbs.
Yeah, that was on the Bob Bank that day, many moons ago, it seems. But yeah, what an incredible! I think if you asked anybody, one of the most iconic Cardiff goals, that would probably be it. Very close with obviously Mr. AC, Andy Campbell's playoff goal. I think. I think we were the demise of Leeds. I know we got a Leeds fan who tunes in, Arthur Busby. But obviously Leeds top of the Premier League at the time. They were in the Champions League. I think I don't think we've seen David O'Leary since, have we? I don't think.
No. Funny enough, some people just asking about the tops. I'm waiting for a message to go pick them up. I just realized I haven't got access to my Facebook Messenger. So I'm going to have to find another way to contact Thorny because he doesn't answer WhatsApps. I'll give him a ring tomorrow. As far as I know, they're close to coming. So it might be, for some people, depending on where you live, it might be easier to get them on the 19th if you're there because, but I will try and get them as soon as they're here, I'll start delivering them and whatnot, and we'll work it out, like, giving them out to people and stuff. So basically, McAnee's just asking is Kavanagh doing a question answer, telling stories of his time at Cardiff? Bit of both, mate. So basically, if you haven't been before to these events, obviously I did Craig Bellamy, I did Andy Campbell, Darren Pearce, Michael Chopra, Joe Ledley, Glenn Lubens being the most recent ones. The first sort of hour or so is me and Cav talking about his career. He'll be regaling some tales from on and off the pitch. Then we have like a quick break, and then the team of people will be with microphones around the audience for you guys to ask Graham questions for about an hour or so, 45 minutes to an hour. If you get a £20 ticket, there's like a little thing before, which is a much smaller group where you'll get to have that up close and personal time with him for a little bit. He'll talk about some other stuff, which he won't talk about later on in the evening. And yeah, you get that, like, it's much more up close and personal, that early ticket. So yeah, it is what it is. All goes back into the channel. Obviously, all the money which is raised through tickets goes to pay for Cav to come down and stuff like that. So they're always, look, I've never, not once, had any bad feedback from any of the events, whether that was the couple of tester events we did at the start or right up to the ones that sold out in days, and like Ledley and Bellamy.
I've seen a post from Jordan, who was obviously hosting the event at Splott Cons in Cardiff. I think he put a post out this afternoon saying over 50% of tickets have been sold.
Yeah, they're pretty much gone. And I know, like, so 50% have gone, but I also spoke to about 10 people yesterday who were getting like a range of different tickets, 1, 2, whatever, and they were going to go sort them out over the next day or two. So if they get 2 tickets each, that's another 20 gone. So there's not going to be many left at all by the end of this week, I don't think. So all I can say to people is just, if you want to come, get your tickets sorted quickly. Someone said that there was a problem with Jordan's email address. I don't know what that is, but you could also email CardiffCityWorld@gmail.com, and I'll respond like instantly anyway. So there's a variety of ways to get them. Lewis says, any news on Ollie Tanner, mate? I haven't had anything official. All I can say is that the lady who was sat right by where he hit a board in the front row was behind us on the bus. And she said you could hear like a crack, and they thought that they had heard the staff talking about a break, but apparently on Sky they said something about him and his Achilles. So I don't know, but I think it was you said earlier to me that you did.
Yeah, I think I heard
3
something
months.
that he's potentially going to be out for 3 months. That's not concrete. That's just.
I've got to say,
Chinese
mate,
whispers, but
if he was out for 3 months, that would be a lot less time than what I was expecting from what I had heard about like the people who were very close to it. But again, I will say this not official. It's not. I haven't spoken to anyone at the club or anything like that. That was just from the people who were by there. It was very nasty. Like, so with the Kavanagh one, there's no paper tickets or anything like that. You send your email, you will be given the payment details, and then you're added to like a secure list, and you just give your name on the night, because obviously it's a very quick turnaround for this one. There was literally from the announcement to the date is like 4 weeks. So if we'd done paper tickets and all that, it's like it all becomes a bit thing. But yeah, we've got a list of the names of people and email addresses and all that sort of stuff.
come on back. I know I sang happy birthday, but you've got to be quicker. Size already
Too slow. I will phone Thorny tomorrow regarding the tops, but I know they're not far off. Yeah, jumpers for goalposts with showing his age. Brian Clark against Real Madrid. Oof. And that, do you know what was nice yesterday, right? Is I met Lewis, who's quite young, right? And not young, but younger than me. Like, and I met some people in their 20s. I met some people my age, but I also met a guy sat in front of me called Ron on the bus, and he said, "Hiya, Si, you right?" I was like, "Hiya, you okay?" Because it's always disconcerting when someone knows you and they, like, you don't know them. And he said, "I watch your stuff all the time," and I was like, "Fucking hell, go on." He was like, you know, I know I wouldn't like to guess his age, like, but he was an older gentleman. Then I saw another lady who watches the channel with her nephew. She said her nephew was away at the moment, but he's planning to come to the Kavanagh event. And like, I was just like, wow, like the range of ages and people and demographic of people who watch the like the channel is super, super, super good. So very excited.
I was shopping in Tesco's on the weekend, and there's a gentleman called Ian. He said, you were Matt from the 1927 club. I was like, yeah. He said, I watch the shows, love it. And it's nice to have that feedback as well in it off people when you get to have it as well. So yeah, perfect.
Yeah, and there'll be raffle tickets on the night again, I think, with some prizes. So what did we give away at the last one? We gave a Cardiff City home shirt and a Cardiff City away shirt, which were then signed by Glenn Lewins if they wanted, which I think they did. So, and you get authentication with that, with a photo and stuff. So yeah, it was all good. Out of 10, I don't know, mate. It was emotional. I had to bloody do a report for Dragon Sports afterwards. I nearly missed my bus because I couldn't do it in the stadium because it was so like noisy and ground. So I kind of got back to the bus and I said to Becky, like, I think I'm just going to go do it now because I don't really want to do it on the bus because you just look like a bit of a helmet. Like, so I was like, I'll go and do it by there. So I sort of got off the bus. I spoke to the driver and I said, have I got time to have a cigarette? And he said, yeah, you've got plenty of time. So I was like, right, well, it's only supposed to be like 3 minutes or whatever. So I went and stood by the wall by the bus doing it, and then all of a sudden the buses started moving, and I was like, I nearly got run over as I was trying to get back on my bus. So right at the end of my Dragon Sports video, I kind of go, and I'm in the middle of I gotta go, I'm gonna miss my bus, and it was literally I was gonna miss my bus, so I had to go, but it was a bit shorter than normal, but I was losing my voice. And
one thing that surprised me from last night as well was a picture of a certain somebody in the crowd, both hands in the air, and he didn't have his walking stick in his hand.
Yeah, I put it like hanging on the chair behind me. Like,
you've got a holster on your belt, haven't you? And you just put it in there.
I got fucking mobbed like when they scored. It was just mental. And yeah, I made some new friends. Hopefully, none of them were pickpockets because we all got up close and personal, didn't it? But no, it was cool, mate. It was really good. And do you know who else I met last night? Emily and Katie. Do you know who they are? They are the blue
daughters of the lovely Donna Perry.
Indeed. Everywhere we go vlog, come in tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. from Wimbledon. The girls are back, and they always do mad views. They it's for the youngsters, isn't it? But yeah, they're back tomorrow morning with the vlog. It's edited, it's ready. We are good to go. So that'll be out in the morning. And my lunchtime videos are coming back tomorrow as well. I might do 5 things we learned from Wimbledon, or I might do something different. I'm going to do a video on the standard of refereeing, I think. But for that, I want to do like a real deep dive into it, not just the Cardiff side of it. And I want to look at the difference.
I know, obviously, we're running over time and things, and we're talking about the refereeing and things, but there was discussions in the group last night. Now, like, I know if like Premier League referees have blunders and things, they kind of get demoted down a league, don't they?
Yeah.
Is that do you think that obviously applies? I would imagine it is exactly the same for League One refs, really.
Yeah. They supposedly it's like a division thing, isn't it? So you go like the top tier referees, if they are terrible or they pulled up on a mistake, they go down to the championship, and then someone else will go down again, and it's supposed to go like that. I'll get Jeff Winter on. I like Jeff a lot, and he'll come on and chat about that. But honestly, we see some bad refereeing already this season. Last night, I thought was absolutely disgraceful. Like, I really, really thought it was poor, and we're lucky that it didn't cost us, like, you know, because it could have. And the way he was giving free kicks against Cardiff for nothing, you could imagine him giving a penalty, like, you know. Oh yeah, it's GCSE results day tomorrow, so the vlog will be out because it's already done. I just got to upload it. But maybe there won't be a lunchtime video unless I get up super early to do it, which I probably will because I'm dedicated.
I wanted to bring this comment up for you to read as well, because I know obviously when you started the channel, you was very much about building a community, and you know it's gone from strength to strength. I think you look back 18 months ago. I think even you probably would admit yourself is flying at the moment, and so I'll let you read this one out.
I can't at the moment, mate. My screen's
I'll read it out for you. And if you can't read, just say.
Yeah.
It's not just feedback, it's learning as well, with great facts and input from everyone. Thanks, lads, and thanks, chat. This is why I joined, not just to enjoy being at games, but realization and real chat. I thought that was a nice bit of feedback, eh, Bet?
Yeah, mate. I'd be surprised how much really kind feedback we get. Like, not just about the channel or the content or whatever, like, but just I get every now and again I get messages for people saying how it helps their mental health, or it helps them when they they live on their own or whatever, like different things, but just it hits home a bit then, like, because you just ultimately, like, we're just Cardiff City fans talking about Cardiff City. We enjoy doing it, but we also, we try to do our best with it. We try to be consistent with it. And I'm like my missus will tell you, I'm really frustrated this week because I haven't stuck to my lunchtime schedule of putting videos out, just because it was her birthday and stuff. And I wanted to, not just that, but like I wanted to try and do some different things. And I had a lot on.
What you're saying is Becky's fault then?
No.
The queen of the operation.
Yeah, in fairness, like,
I know how hard she works behind the scenes, and I suppose we come on for an hour here and there, but there's a lot of work I know you do behind the scenes. Obviously, I enjoy coming on talking. I'm not the whiz kid and do all the graphics and stuff like you do. I followed the channel right from the very beginning, and it's just something I was passionate about and wanted to give back and help you out a little bit. And it's I love it. It's great coming on. I don't pretend to be a smart ass or professional about anything. It's just me coming on, getting my views across, and it's just great to have so many people who come on, get involved, and it's awesome. I love it.
It's a good time, mate, isn't it? It's a good time. It's just one of them, mate, isn't it? It's I've got to do some real cool shit, like, over the last few days and few weeks and stuff, or like last few months. I got to do some really cool shit, like with different companies, and I got my own radio show and just like all this wild stuff, like, which I've always wanted to do, but doing YouTube has enabled me to do it because I've been able to build up a couple of channels and build up my own sort of reputation, I guess. But I'm very grateful because ultimately it's the people who watch and the people who comment and the people who join. And like the other thing as well is like my missus just put there, and that's why we keep the prices so low for the live events and take no profit from them, because it's about the community and it's about the fans. So a friend of mine who works for Sky and a few other broadcasters asked me the other day, right, why do you do the live events? Like, do you do it to make money? Do you do it because you want to grow the channel? Do you do it because you just want to do stuff with ex-players? And like, I had a big think about it. And ultimately, right, I do it because when I was 20 and I was going like home and away and I was fucking just, everything was all Cardiff City. And like, you know, I was just on a piss all the time. And there was never anything like with ex-players. There was never anything with like where you could go and spend an evening with an ex-player and ask them questions and listen to their stories. And if there was, it would always be like a black tie event, which cost the best part of £100 for a ticket. You were surrounded by people who weren't on the same wavelength as you because you were 20 and you had fucking no money. And it was just like, there was never anything. And then now I'm like, well, no, we'll give some in. And we do it for City fans, we don't charge, you know, for a photo. We don't charge for the chat with the thing. We don't charge to ask a question. We set the price. And look, at some point, the prices might need to change to cover the players. Like, I would really like to get, I can't name them because I don't want to put, it's not, I'm putting on blast. But like, there's a couple of players who I really want to get on and I really want to do a live event with them. But I can't because they cost a bit too much for me to charge £10 a ticket and only sell 100 tickets. So if someone's got to give, you've either got to make the event bigger and sell more tickets, which is a lot of pressure, or you've got to put the prices up. And the amount I'd have to put the prices up to get those players, I'm not comfortable
Or if there's
with.
anybody in the chat tonight or anybody viewing tonight who's got a company and would like to sponsor an event, I know we had a sponsor at the last event, and I think that went really well.
They were very, very happy actually. And I don't know where they might even be back actually. So we haven't got a sponsor tied down for the Cav one at the moment. We're in conversation with a couple, but there's nothing down. So if you have got a company or a business, then you want to sponsor it, or you got whatever, like if you work for yourself, it could be anything. Like ultimately, you know, always open for a chat. CardiffCityWorld@gmail.com. On that note as well, I'll finish up by saying a big thank you to Coral for sponsoring today's event. We'll play a little ad from them now, and then Matthew, as always, it's a pleasure. Me and you don't get to do shows together very often, so it's always a pleasure to have a little chit chat with you. And yeah, I got loads of videos. I got so many video ideas at the moment coming out my ears. I got to nail them all down in the morning. And I want to finish off by saying, for all the kids who are getting their GCSE results tomorrow, best of luck, good luck with it, especially all the boys. I know the boys who play football for my team, like they all watch and stuff. Yes, it's important and you've all put in the hard work and stuff, but ultimately, if it doesn't go well, it means fuck all. Just get your head down and go find what you want to do. Find something you're good at, find something you're passionate about, learn how to do it, put your work in, and it'll all come right in the end. You don't need to worry about it too much, but if you put the work into anything, you'll get a result. Best of luck with your GCSE results tomorrow. And me and Matthew will see you again soon. Another live show tomorrow with Evan. Possibly with me as well, although I might take the evening off because I work tonight instead. But we'll see. Matthew, thank you very much, bud.
Cheers, buddy. Have a good evening.
Keep the faith, my friends. Up the fucking city. This episode of Cardiff City World is brought to you by Coral, the proud sponsor of the TalkSport Fan Network. Here for all kinds of fans. For the armchair experts, whether you're constantly negative, overly positive, or maybe even the instant over-the-top reaction social media guy or girl, For the football fashionistas still clinging to the legendary terrace fashion of yesteryear, or the best retro gear from Michael Thorne, the nostalgia merchants dreaming of the old lady Ninian Park, or still celebrating Campbell's goal in the Millennium Stadium, whatever kind of fan you are, with Coral's free-to-play reward shaker with a guaranteed daily reward or offer throughout the season. Simply shake your phone to win. Over 18s only, maximum 1 reward or offer per player per day, 8 a.m. till 8 p.m. Reward restrictions and requirements and other T's and C's apply. For more information on safer gambling, visit gambleaware.org.
Maxwell Beats.
For your Caesar, Cardiff City ride with me for your Caesar.